Hey everyone, before we start, I just want to issue an apology. I am sorry that I had not been posting a lot of content in the last 2 weeks, especially. I've just been really damn busy these last 2 weeks, so I really haven't had found time to do videos here, so I'm actually quite behind, and I do apologize for that. However, I'm going to definitely make an effort to be more consistent. With that being said, though, welcome to another episode of First Impressions, and today we are going to be covering Confessions by Mary's Blood. Now, this was an album review request, actually several months back around the time the album came out in June, which the album came out on June 12th, 2019, and it was a request, but the album was not on Spotify, at least here in the West, so I told the person that I would do the album as soon as it came out on Spotify, and I did the album before that for that review. However, now that it's on Spotify, it's actually been on Spotify for a while. I've just had it sort of in the back burner as I catch up on a bunch of the other stuff, and now I'm to the point where this is another album I can go back and catch up on in the rotation. So yeah, I'm going to be covering it in a first impressions episode, just because I'm so far behind and 2019 is coming to a close, so I'm just going to be cramming in as much as I can for 2019, which is going to be a little difficult. And with that being said, we're going to get into the album. We're going to start with the artwork, and the artwork has it's like a dancer lady, with the top half sort of being like this eldritch shadow figure, and it is actually a pretty majestic and mysterious cover. That's really cool. The only thing I don't like is the little color circle around it. I feel like that definitely does take away from the aesthetic there a little bit, in my opinion, and definitely does hinder it quite a bit. I'm going to give this album cover a score of 6 out of 10, just because I feel like the majesticness of that picture definitely does keep it from being, in my opinion, ruined by the little color circle shape around it. But anyways, going to the album itself, this album is definitely an improvement over Remnant, especially from the first two tracks. Labyrinth of the Abyss and Karma are just two really, really fantastic tracks, and definitely start this album off on a very high level. However, the one thing about this album is that it definitely does not keep up at that high level, and it definitely is a bit of a dip after that. However, that is not to say that it's bad. One of the other positives about this album is that the more experimental songs on this album, like the ones that are on Remnant here on Confessions, they are much stronger than they were on Remnant. You have Layla, which is this very Middle Eastern sounding track, and then you have tracks like Aim, which are just very fun. Which is a very fun song probably to dance to, and also the power metal songs, or the songs that are in Mary's Blood style. For the most part, I would say here they are, however, slightly weaker than the songs that were found on Remnant. However, there are some really good songs in that style. Like I said, like the first two tracks are really awesome, and then there's another song here, Virtual Real, which is really good too. Another sort of downside to the album here is that on one of the songs, I think it's on Go Ahead and Laugh, which is it's sort of like this punk-ish song, or I might be thinking of High Five, one of the two. It's sort of like it's a punk song, and the bass to me does sound a bit too much like MIDI. That's another thing I had with the album. The vocal performance on this album, however, from I is just really freaking great throughout. She is definitely a very strong vocalist. And then the guitar from Psyche throughout this album is really, really awesome. She does have some pretty damn impressive solos throughout this album. And overall, this is a improvement over Remnant, though I do feel like there are some things the band can definitely improve upon here. And I wonder what direction they're honestly going to go Next, considering how there seems to be a bit more confidence on this album in the experimentation, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to give Confessions by Mary's Blood an overall score of 7 out of 10, giving it a tier of good. And my favorite tracks off this album were Labyrinth of the Abyss, Karma, Layla, and Virtual Real. What were your thoughts on Confessions by Mary's Blood? Let me know in the comments down below, and I want to thank you for taking your time out of your day to watch this review, and I hope you all have a great day.